Yeah. So it's been kind of like, just trying to involve. And also the children, both of my kids have been off of school now since the 8th.
Yeah.
So juggling that and COP and my mother-in-law. Thanks, mother-in-law, for coming to visit during COP. That was great.
She does mean that.
No.
She means thanks for coming.
Yeah, definitely. It was
Let's
great.
not
It was
cause the
brilliant.
family rich.
You get a sense of like the love of camels comes through. I won't tell you how. I don't want to give too many spoilers.
I have heard rabbit camel.
Rabbit camel.
But, I mean,
It has rabies.
no spoilers.
No
Oh,
spoilers. Sorry,
that
guys.
might be a spoiler. No, it's not a spoiler.
I don't know if the word is babysitting or taking care of my 3 godchildren.
Yes. I
So-
remember
You
you
told
telling
me
us
about
about
this.
this.
So I had them for 3 days. They are 11, 7, and 5.
And are all relationships still intact? Are all humans?
Yes, I mean
Okay.
I'm tired, but it's a good tired because I took them out. We went to the movies. We went to the art galleries. I gave them a very fun, educational 3 days. Got them ice cream. It was fun.
Today we're going to be talking about Brian Cox and a Saudi film on Netflix called Naga.
We are also going to be chatting about what caught the eye of the collector at Art Basel in Miami Beach. And the Hollywood sign has had a very big birthday this week.
I'm Enas and Farah, and you are listening to Culture Bites coming from you here at the National in Abu Dhabi.
And I'm Farah Andrews. Please remember to subscribe and follow on your favourite podcast app. And give us a follow on YouTube as well so you can see our little faces.
So we've been off for a couple of, has it been 2 weeks?
It's been 2 weeks, but it feels like a lot longer.
Well, it was definitely not for me because I was working at COP28, which was amazing, but also quite tiring. And there's loads that's been happening in your world as well that I've probably missed out on.
I mean, yeah, but your world has been very, very busy at COP. Our world has been, international news has just kept ticking on. But I think COP has kept most people in our newsroom pretty busy, right?
Yeah, I think the vibe here at the National is definitely we're winding down. We're coming to Christmas, New Year, celebrations, fireworks. Are you seeing any?
winding down? Do you feel wound down?
Wound up.
Yeah. It's not. We are definitely getting to the end of the year. There's been a lot of reflection on the year, which I think has been nice, and kind of getting the kind of like looking back, but also more importantly, looking forward for everything we've got coming up in next year. I mean, what is the date right now? It's the 14th. Oh my gosh, in 10 days' time, it's Christmas Eve. Are you ready?
No. I have been trying to use my air fryer to dehydrate oranges.
This is relatable content.
This is really relatable content because, doing craft really helps me relax.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I've been making Christmas decorations and I've been dehydrating oranges, mainly for scent reasons.
Yeah,
I really
that's
like
nice.
smelly things in my home.
Where are you going to put them?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably on the tree.
Oh yeah, nice. Make a garland.
A garland for the tree.
Garlands go great anywhere.
Yeah. So it's been kind of like, just trying to involve. And also the children, both of my kids have been off of school now since the 8th.
Yeah.
So juggling that and COP and my mother-in-law. Thanks, mother-in-law, for coming to visit during COP. That was
She
great.
does mean that.
No.
She means thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
definitely. It was
Let's
great.
not
It was
cause the
brilliant.
family rich.
No, it was great. And it was my daughter's birthday as well. So it's been a very hectic time
Very
for me.
busy week.
So I kind of can't remember what was life like before or after. What is life?
Like that, I guess that's what BC means now before COP, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But a lot has happened.
And what's been going on in your life? Are you crafting?
No, I was actually just thinking, I was like, have I had a crafty Christmas? No, because I haven't had a moment, which I don't want to be like that. Oh, I'm so busy, because I really hate the busy showing off, like you aren't achieving things unless
Like
you're the
what I just
busiest
did.
person in the room. I mean, you had a very busy 2 weeks at COP. That's okay. You aren't marching around
And I've
pretending
been
to be.
dehydrating oranges in my air fryer.
Listen, she's found time to dehydrate oranges. She's not that busy. No, I haven't been that crafty. I have been watching a lot of Christmas films, which I think we're going to talk about another time.
I think we can talk about that another time. Let's just keep some of that content
Yeah.
for later.
But I have really made my way through the festive catalogue already. It's only the 14th, so I've got 10 more days to really get through a few more.
Up the ante.
What else have I been doing? I have cooked a lot. I've been to some art things. There's been a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
What have you cooked? What's your favourite dish to cook?
Oh, I do like cooking. You know I like cooking.
I know.
On this week, I did make spaghetti vongole, which is probably my speciality.
So, yeah, this was like, you mentioned this before. I'm quite jealous. And Where do you get your clams from?
Okay, so there's a nice little fish shop quite near my house, and they sell local clams. This sounds like we've orchestrated this. We actually haven't. This conversation's organic. They sell local fish, and I got UAE clams for 11 dirhams for a kilogram.
That's a steal. That is so cheap.
So we essentially had the bougiest midweek dinner, spaghetti vongole, which is like my favorite thing to order in a restaurant, and it cost 11 dirhams plus olive oil plus garlic we already had in the house. Plus spaghetti. It was an 11 dirham dinner.
That's so good. Also, very carbon neutral.
Yeah.
There's over here.
Very healthy because high protein. I mean, spaghetti, but
And
delicious.
we
Spaghetti
know
brings
you love
happiness.
protein.
Do I talk about that here? Spaghetti is happiness. And so it was a lovely, lovely meal. So that's my favorite thing to cook. I've made you orzo and prawns before.
You have made me orzo.
The ottolenghi recipe, which is an all-time fave.
Yeah.
But this isn't, I mean, I could actually have a cooking podcast. Do we want that?
Do we want that? I could talk a lot about Indian food. I'm a big fan of Indian food and cooking Indian food. But let's
get onto the art, my friend.
Let's go into art and culture, which is why hopefully you're here for, not just for our chat.
And food.
Do you want to tell us what's caught your eye? I mean, it caught your eye yesterday. You came into my office to tell me.
So we are two vocal fans of Succession.
Very vocal.
And I think one of our mutual favourite parts of Succession is Logan Roy, the expletive-filled patriarch of the Roys.
Do you ever just think when you're watching that you wish you could like just come up with those like one-liner comebacks that quick?
Oh, yeah. Always.
Yeah.
I mean, how they turned a boardroom into something extremely fascinating. I mean, they are fascinating, but they turned it into like a visually fascinating. That's a conversation for another time.
We can talk about that later.
But Brian Cox, the Scottish actor who plays Logan Roy, has performed a reading of "If I Must Die," the poem by Refaat Alareer, the Palestinian poet and scholar who has been killed in Gaza. He died on the 7th of December. The poem has been very, very broadly shared on social media. I think you've shared it. I think I've seen it on your social media. And it has become, I mean, like the message is like so pertinent. He didn't actually write it recently. He wrote it in 2011, which I think...
because I think there's definitely some misinformation about that because people are saying that he wrote it this year.
Yeah, people are saying it. He posted it on November the 1st. But on his WordPress, I don't even know if he definitely wrote it in 2011. He could have written it...
could have been in a notebook.
Yeah, he shared it in 2011 on his WordPress. And the poem is... I mean, Brian Cox, he is an incredibly classically trained actor, right? So he's like the kind of Shakespearean roles, and he brings that gravitas.
Brings the gravitas to it. It just gives it like another level of depth. Because I've read the poem many times. I think it's been shared a lot during this conflict. And what Brian Cox does so well is, like you said, he just brings gravitas to his voice, and he really makes this sound almost vibrate. The words are vibrating in you. His
like the intense eye contact that he makes with the camera is like it's completely. There's like no movement. He's obviously like knows this poem incredibly well, and yeah, the reading is very moving. Are we able to put a little extract of the reading?
If I Must Die by Refaat Alareer. If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings. Make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment, an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale.
And Cox is like one of a collective of distinguished actors, authors, musicians who've actually written a public letter to the President Joe Biden of the US, advocating for an urgent ceasefire So that's like, he's on the list of people who are really trying to be pushed and use their platform for that reason.
To speak out and speak out for the people in Gaza, for sure.
I think he's I'm a huge fan of his before Succession as well. He's just got like a way about him. But he did this documentary years ago about like the working classes in Scotland, and just like his witty comments were just so on point. And he gets people and he understands the struggles of people. And I think that's something that he's really brought to this. So if you haven't seen it, you have now hopefully heard it or, seen it if you're watching us on YouTube. But if you haven't, like, definitely try and check it out. Right. We're going to go and talk about something else now that's like kind of close to my heart. There's been a lot of controversy over a big American actor who I'm actually a really big fan of, Denzel Washington. I don't want to hear a bad word said about him. But he's been cast as Hannibal in a new drama for Netflix, and the casting has sparked up yet another kind of race debate in the Middle East.
Yeah, there's been a lot of conversation about this.
So, Hannibal was born in Carthage, which is...
so you're going to have to do a bit of a history lesson for me and I'm sure some of our listeners. So
just imagine this kind of like, he's a statesman, he battles the Romans in Carthage, becomes this kind of like formidable figure in history.
What era are we in?
We are way, way back. We're Roman times.
Oh, we're Roman. Okay.
We're Roman times. So there's a lot of debate about this, and it kind of like conjures up those feelings that we had earlier this year about Cleopatra being played by a black woman. And now we have another North African played by a black American actor.
Yeah.
I think the thing is like, I think I understand the need for, more roles being given to, actors of color. That's great. However, I think a lot of the time there is a distortion of Arab history. Yeah. And I'm not saying that there are, of course, a huge population of black Arabs. Like to be Arab is to speak Arabic.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated. So obviously there's a lot of different colors and shades within the Middle East. I'm very proud of that. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know. And however, having a black American actor play somebody who is of Tunisian descent feels a bit of a stretch. And it's the same that we had with Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Because Cleopatra was not black.
Yeah.
However, she was played by a black actress in the Netflix dramatization, but it was kind of like a docudrama. So they're saying, oh, we're doing this really, really well, but you're doing really big factual inaccuracies. And I think Bassem Youssef actually spoke about it in an interview, saying, like, we understand that America has a lot of, like, things with race, and they're trying to put things right by casting people in certain roles. And that is great.
And we've obviously had years, generations, decades of whitewashing in history in general, and then more specifically in Hollywood. Like, that has been the precedent until kind of very recently. And so this is obviously a very concerted effort to move away from that. But then it's like a kind of a new, it's not, two wrongs aren't making a right here, right?
Yeah. And I think for a lot of Arabs, like, we already feel quite underrepresented anyway in Hollywood, right? I think everyone who is of Middle Eastern descent, like, I remember, like, talking about, like, feeling like connected with a character from a film. Do you remember the old film with Kevin Costner? Robin Hood.
Yeah.
So there was a Muslim character in that.
I was a very little human being then, so I obviously watched it years after.
I am older than you, so I remember it clearly. But Morgan Freeman played, I think his name was Azim, who was technically from North Africa, right? And I just remember just being so happy there was a Muslim character on TV. And that was, like, such a big thing for me because I'd never seen that before. Yeah. And we're talking 1991. And I probably watched the film when I was older. It was probably a few years older. Yeah, I'm not that old. No. But
in her early 20s watching this film. No.
So yeah, I think like you know, a lot of people of Middle Eastern descent have grown up kind of like hoping and praying for those days when the limelight of Hollywood would descend upon us and suddenly we'd be given a voice and a face and a, yes, here's my culture and my religion and it's all okay. But unfortunately, that seems to have fallen flat this time with Netflix.
Netflix they're making an effort to be more transparent about what they're working on, their viewership figures. And they released this huge report, which was basically just stat. But there was one part of it that stood out to me, and that was that 30% of viewers were watching, or 30% of viewership was on non-English on shows and films, which shows that the market is growing. Things don't have to be a default English in film, in any entertainment. And that wasn't just the rest of the world. That's global viewership, right?
100%. I mean, the rest of the world, most of the world isn't American.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, shock, horror, most of the world isn't American. And I think even from my perspective, like even as somebody who's, you know, grown up in England, I'm kind of like, okay, I get that American narrative. I get it. Cool. Fun.
Yeah, we've seen it. That's what we've grown up with.
Give me Korea.
Yeah.
Give me India. Give me Saudi Arabian film, which I will talk about today. But like, give me anything else which is kind of like pushing my understanding of culture.
Yeah.
Just give me something a bit different. And I can watch it dubbed if I can't be bothered to read subtitles. But I'm still getting something
I'm one of
new.
these people that has subtitles on always. Do you like a
Really?
subtitle? Yeah. I like reading what I'm
You're
watching.
that person.
Yeah.
I do that for my children because I heard that if you have the subtitles on, they learn to read quicker.
Oh, maybe that's why I do it. I'm such a fast reader.
I used to put them, well, when I was growing up, we used to have the Arabic subtitles on all the time if you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer or like anything that was in English.
Yeah.
The Arabic subtitles would be on so that people could read the translation. And I think I got better at reading Arabic through the subtitles.
That's smart. When when I lived in Spain, there's basically no English entertainment in Spain. They don't. Then if they if they show films like Hollywood films, they're dubbed. They aren't subtitled, and so I got pretty good at understanding like Western films dubbed over in Spanish, and then like having to like double translate in my brain. That's a riddle. But also, everyone does say watch entertainment in other languages to learn the language.
Okay, I wanted to talk about something that I was raving about. I think I came to work and was like, you must see it, you must see it.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I watched...
She said you must see it.
Well, I was inspired by the National's review.
Yeah, we did have a review.
Yeah, of the Saudi film Naga.
Naga.
Which, yeah, I think that's also the pronunciation because it's spelled with a cough. But as Saudis were pronounced
And it came out last week, so it's fresh
it's
on
very,
Netflix.
very fresh on Netflix. It's about a local Saudi girl. She gets stranded in the desert on the outskirts of Riyadh after going to a desert camp. We've all been to a desert camp.
So doesn't she have like so I've not watched the film, but I've read this review and the synopsis. She has quite a tight curfew and everything's a bit of a tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
It is. And usually I hate, it's one of my passions, is those films which are all based in one day, one night. Because
no, I quite like them. I find them really stressful.
They're really stressful.
When they play out in real time.
You're
But I didn't like 24. But we don't have to go with that.
There's a few of these films kicking around and I genuinely try and avoid them because I'm like, whatever. I really hate them. Like the anxiety they give me is just not worth it. But this film, even though it does give you quite a bit of anxiety because there is that ticking element, the cinematography was just so fresh, so new, so representative of this new Saudi Arabia, Middle Eastern culture that we're seeing emerging. The actual, at times I was like, who's made this? Is this Tarantino? No, it's somebody new. It's not Tarantino. It's somebody more new. It's new. So anyway.
More new than Tarantino?
More new. Well, Tarantino's, yeah. But anyway, it's really, really good. And the whole thing, it plays on a lot of Saudi social structure. You get a sense of the love of camels comes through. I won't tell you how. I don't want to give too many spoilers.
I have heard rabid camel.
Rabies. Not rabbit.
Rabbit.
Is it rabbit?
That's the
Is that what you call
adjective.
Rabbit camel.
But I mean,
it has rabies.
no spoilers.
No spoilers. Sorry,
that
guys.
might be a spoiler. No, it's not a spoiler.
But
That was in
it's-
the review. So if it's in the review, we're fine. We're safe.
Yeah.
Safe
Anything that's
territory.
because the review definitely made me want to watch it. So well done to the reviewer. Who was the reviewer?
Gregory Wakeman, who
Well
does a lot of our film reviews, and I really enjoy his work. So let's give Greg a
really
shout
good.
out.
Well done, Greg. So really was very intrigued to watch the film after reading the review, and it didn't disappoint. I think there's also this really almost like this element of like her parent and her parents' love. So she is trying to grapple with society
Pushing some boundaries,
pushing some boundaries like we all do when we're in our ute. And then at the end you kind of like see that the love for her father is like something that like is kind of celebrated. And also you get this like I loved this about this. This is an overwhelming sense of like understanding her father.
Okay.
But it wasn't like, it's not obvious. It's not in your face. It's like given to you in little bits, and then suddenly you realise a lot of it is about this daughter's love for her father. Nice. And that gave me a very warm, warm, cuddly feeling. Because I think that relationship just isn't celebrated enough sometimes, and people misunderstand Arab culture all the time.
So I'm definitely going to watch it.
Definitely watch it.
It's hard because at the moment, obviously, I'm mainly watching Christmas films. So it might be, like, full disclosure, a January situation for me. But that's the beauty of Netflix. It's always going to be there. Unless I unsubscribe to Netflix. Which
Are you going to watch that much Christmas content?
My love, it's all I'm watching. It's like a problem.
I think
And
you
it's
have got a
almost
problem.
like the-
Christmasitis.
The worse the film, the better.
Oh, no. Oh, really?
One of my friends makes like an advent calendar of Christmas films, like a terrible film a day, and she does it. I have not done that. It's not been 14 yet, but there probably will be by the end.
Wow. I mean, I think my daughters could join in on that though. They watched was it Another Blooming Christmas?
Oh, I've not watched that. Do I
They
add
love
that to my list?
Yeah, add that to your list. Okay, right. So next up, Hollywood Sign.
Hollywood, baby. Hollywood. The Hollywood Sign is 100 years young.
100 years young.
I feel like this year there's been a lot of talk about the Hollywood Sign turning 100. It was this year, big chat, but it actually happened this week. So, happy birthday, Hollywood.
Yeah, it's so iconic.
I mean, yeah.
I've been to Hollywood. Have you touched it? Have you been up to it?
I don't know if you can anymore.
Maybe they've guarded it off.
People do go on like those hikes that you see Meghan Markle / the Duchess of Sussex going on up hiking in the Hollywood Hills. And I always think that would be a nice thing to do. But
yeah.
I've done the hike to Hatter, as I told you, and I have touched that sign.
Yes, because Hatter is obviously a bit inspired by the Hollywood Sign.
Yes.
And that's just on our doorstep.
It is not. I do really like that hike. But so the Hollywood Sign, 100 years old. Do you know any of the history of the Hollywood Sign?
I know that it was obviously, wasn't it to advertise an area that was nothing?
It was like a real estate company. And so real estate sign went up with Hollywood Land. And then it, obviously the LAND has been taken away.
And now it just says Hollywood.
Which is catchier. So they made a good decision. Let's be real. It's had like different eras of disrepair. There was like a phase when it kind of was just completely falling apart. And then obviously as Hollywood has grown into what it is today, because Hollywood as we have it now was not in like the 1920s, like kind of real golden era of cinema, but it wasn't the kind of mega industry that we have now. And it has kind of become completely emblematic of the film industry in the US. And there's been like a few kind of significant, obviously it's what I picture when I think of LA, Hollywood. There was actually, this is a personal story time. I went on a work trip to LA, my first one, and I was like, my gosh, this is so glamorous. This is it. I'm doing film reporting now. I'm in the movies. And
she's in the movies, guys.
She's made it. And I checked into the W Hollywood, which I already thought was like, whoa, who am I?
Whoa.
And then my window was like a big, like, it had like a seat at the window, which I do like those little cozy booths. And my view is the Hollywood Sign. I was like, what is happening?
Selfie time.
So many photos.
Sorry.
No, you? What
no, the only thing I think about, I have been to LA. I have seen the Hollywood Sign. Very impressive. The only thing I think about is this like weird random story of Jim Carrey who'd go up to the Hollywood Sign and then manifest his rise to stardom.
Wow.
So apparently that's what he used to do.
Maybe that's where I went wrong. Didn't manifest at the sign. I just
I'm gonna
sat
do
and
it.
looked at it in a window.
I'm going to do that at Hatter. I don't care.
Okay. That'll work.
What else has been going on? You wanted to talk about...
Art Basel Miami Beach. Which, going back to America, it is the biggest art market week in North America. We were just at Abu Dhabi Art. Very similar vibes. The kind of art market, lots of galleries bringing their kind of highlight pieces, displaying them. And also a very big focus of Art Basel is selling the pieces. Is it Basel or Basel? I've probably said both in this recording.
I think just
My
keep
apologies.
interchanging them.
Look, I'll flip-flop.
Yeah, you flip-flop and then
Why
people can make up their own
commit to
minds.
one? I will not. But yeah, it's huge. And it's very, it's like notably international. So for some perspective, Abu Dhabi Art was massive. You and I spent a lot of time walking around it. It had, I believe, off the top of my head, 90 galleries.
Yeah.
But Art Basel had 277 exhibitors, which is enormous. And it was from countries all around the world. So we had Egyptian art, Chinese art, things from Europe. So obviously like Athens, we have pieces from from Greece and then Poland. So very international showing. We got sent a sales report of the event, which again, quite like the Netflix report, quite dry. But there were some parts that really stood out for me that were super interesting.
Tell me.
Mainly about artists from this region. So there was some really huge sales. There was pieces sold by an Egyptian artist called Ghada Amer, her work called Because, and that sold for $275,000, which is a very significant sale.
Ooh, that's nice.
And then a piece I think you'll really like is I mean, this is not a shopping trip for you and I. A ceramic, and also these have now been bought. These are not on the market anymore.
Oh, we missed our chance. Shucks.
A ceramic sculpture. So this is right up your street. It's kind of like a tile sculpture by a Lebanese American artist called Etel Adnan. Am I saying Etel right? E-T-E-L?
Etel.
Etel.
I don't know bad of. Unless I see it written in Arabic, I'm really bad at understanding the phonetic.
Okay, so
Like,
well,
I just
we'll
can't.
say. Maybe we'll flip-flop again.
Maybe flip-flop.
And her work, so it's called Watching the Hours, and yeah, it's kind of tile work, and it sold for $300,000.
Wow.
Which is mega.
Well done to those artists. And that sounds really cool. Can we go to Miami one day?
I mean, Miami, come get us. We will come.
I really want to go for the Art Deco.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I'm a
Very
big Art
into
Deco fan.
that's downtown Miami, isn't it? And then the kind of Cuban area, which I think we'd have a nice time in.
Yeah. Well, we'll put that on the list. And here we are in the best bit of the show. Best bit of the show.
Best bit of the week.
Best bit of the week. Man,
Hi guys,
how
I'm
are
back.
you?
Did you miss me?
Yeah.
I missed you guys.
Oh.
I
It's
missed
been-
our little what do we call this?
Catch up.
Tete-a-tete.
Catch up. Yeah, our podcast.
Oh yeah, that's the
Is
other
that
one.
what it's called?
That's the overarching term.
What is that? What this is?
This is the thing.
That's what we're doing
Our
here.
conversations. How are you guys? Good?
We're good.
Yeah, we are.
We're good.
We unraveled a little bit at the beginning,
Yeah.
so you can find out when you hear
Yes.
this how we
I was
really
listening
are.
live. What are you talking about?
But no, we're
But-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're recovering from COP and from a couple of weeks where we've been away from our microphones.
I'm also recovering.
What from?
I had.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we haven't asked you how you are.
Yeah,
How are
I
you?
mean, I'll just tell you. I don't know if the word is babysitting or taking care of my 3 godchildren.
Yes, I
So-
remember
told
you
me
telling us
about
about
this.
this.
So I had them for 3 days. They are 11, 7, and 5.
And are all relationships still intact? Are all humans?
Yes, I mean
Okay.
I'm tired, but it's a good tired because I took them out. We went to the movies. We went to the art galleries. I gave them a very fun, educational 3 days. Got them ice cream. It was fun. They learned all about art. I took them to Asakal Avenue. So it was
Cultured
fun.
children.
Very, very cultured children.
Fun with
so
Uncle
yeah.
Man.
So yeah. Every time we went into gallery, I'm like, don't embarrass me. Just be cool. You know. So they understand.
Sound
They
that
wear
fun.
Doc Martens.
No, they don't. They're not hipster kids.
Oh, sorry.
But the youngest had a unicorn, be cool unicorn hat. So she
Was
was,
it
very.
embarrassing?
No, it wasn't. It was very Al-Sarkal hipster, but with a little bit of bling. So
Okay.
she made it work, Zara.
Well done,
Yeah.
Zara.
Yeah.
Hiya,
So yeah, she's very cute. So what's great is that I took them to places that I think lots of parents should take their kids.
Ah. So now it's like a parenting
So I have,
podcast. with
yes,
you.
exactly.
I am here for this.
Yeah, so I have some really cool stuff for kids to do with parents.
And it is the Christmas holidays or the
Exactly.
winter holidays right now. So
Exactly.
people will be looking for things to do.
So the first thing I'll talk to you guys about is an amazing animated film that I saw. I got an early preview of it 2 weeks ago or a week ago. It's officially out today. It's called The Boy and the Heron. And it is by Hayao Miyazaki, who I've mentioned before on the podcast. He is the Japanese director from Studio Ghibli who did Spirited Away. So this is his first film in 10 years. And people are predicting it's his last film because he's 82 and he keeps retiring and then coming back and then retiring and coming back. It's a brilliant animated film. It's all hand-drawn, so no like computer animated stuff. And it is about a young boy called Mahito in World War II who loses his mother. And he's kind of dealing with his grief and guilt. And he moves to the countryside with his father and his new wife. And while he's there, like I said, he's sort of dealing with this grief. And there's a heron. Do you guys know what a heron is?
Yeah,
Sure
it's a
do.
bird.
They fly around my neighborhood.
There's a lot in
really?
Abu Dhabi.
Or they might be called cranes.
Are they cranes or herons? I've seen them on the side of the road.
I call
here.
them herons.
Oh, I didn't know what a heron
The
was.
other day there was one literally in the path and my dog was dumbfounded. She did not know what to do.
They are very sinister looking.
Oh, do you think they're sinister? I think they're quite
I
elegant.
think they're quite majestic. Like they're all
Really?
limmy.
Okay, anyway,
It's
tell
from
us about...
it's from the flamingo family.
Yeah.
Yes. So this heron bird in the countryside is taunting him. It can talk and it's telling him, "Your mother's not dead. Follow me to the woods."
That's probably why you think
Yeah,
it's
that's why they're
sinister.
scary.
Yes. Exactly.
Come meet my
That's a
herons. They're
cartoon.
lovely.
So he is taunting him to come into the woods and to find his mother. Eventually, he goes to this abandoned tower and he enters this like fantastical world where there's all this crazy stuff happening and he's trying to figure out what happened to his mother. So it sounds dark. But it's kind of like in the same vein of The Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, where you enter this world and you meet all these people and all this crazy, strange things happen. And it's a coming-of-age story where at the end, he has to sort of make a decision about his life. But what is really beautiful about the film is not only the story, but how it's drawn and the filming, the cinematography, the hand gestures, the hand drawing elements are beautiful. Like Hayao Miyazaki is known for how he renders landscapes in a really beautiful way, his use of color, how he shows clouds, they're like iconic to him. So when it comes to just visually, like from the visuals, it's just a stunning work of art and the music is great. And the film is out now in the Japanese version, but eventually, so it's available in Vox Cinemas in Mall of Emirates. That's where I saw it in a big screen. But eventually as well, there's going to be the dubbed version. And that has Robert Pattinson, who is the heron.
Big.
It has Florence Pugh. Is that how you say her name?
I say
Florence
pupa.
I say Pew, yeah.
Probably.
We've gone
Pew.
back and forth on some of my pronunciation today already.
So she plays a character there. And also, his name escapes me, the great guy from Batman guy, American Psycho guy.
Christian Bale.
So he is also in it, and he's
Those
been
are
in.
big names.
Those are big,
Yeah,
big
they are
names.
big
Yeah,
names.
they're because they
Two Batmans and a Florence. Whoa.
Yeah, two Batman exactly because everybody loves Hayao Miyazaki, and actually, Batman, whose name again I forget, what was his name?
Christian Bale.
Christian
Bale.
Bale. He was another Hayao Miyazaki movie, Howl's Moving Castle, one of my favorites. So
That's one of my favorites.
whenever you hear Hayao Miyazaki, it's kind of like you hear Martin Scorsese for the animation world. And given that this is potentially his last film, I hope not, like it's a really big deal. And if you're a Hayao Miyazaki fan and you watch this, you will see like there is sort of like a journey through all of his films. Or the same, he's like a big pacifist and he's an environmentalist. So you see the same kind of world peace, care about your...
Definitely.
the
My
film
children
motifs.
absolutely love his film, so I'm definitely going to that.
You must.
Did you see that it has been nominated for a Golden Globe?
Oh, it has it?
Yeah.
I already knew that it's in a box office hit in Japan already, but I didn't know that it was nominated for... That's
Yes,
amazing.
on the-
See, you come to Culture Bites, you learn something.
We're learning
new.
from each other,
We
guys.
are here to learn and educate, but mostly learn.
So what else has been going on?
So there is a really, really cool show that I think people should go to and take their kids to. It's in the project space in Estakal Avenue. It's called The Melting Point.
Is this what you took your
Yes.
godchildren to?
Where I
This
take
is
my godchildren
you are
to.
giving us all the tips on where to go. I love
Yes.
this. This is why we have man here.
Yeah, this is why I come.
I've been lost for 2 weeks.
What am I doing?
What am I doing with my life? So this exhibition is called Melting Point, and it is in the project space in Al Avenue. It is by a conceptual artist called Julian Cherreri. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And so you go in, and there is a video projecting on a piece of paper, and it's just floating. Looks like it's floating in the dark. And he is a kind of he's interested in climate and the environment. And the video shows Greenland as the snow is melting when the season is kind of changing, but also because of climate change. But what you see is because of climate change and because of the ice is melting, there are all these kind of like sinkholes that happen in the ice. They're not huge sinkholes, but they're like well size, and it's the ice melting. And he films them really close up. It looks quite beautiful, but in the video, you see his hand go over the hole, the well, and he releases what looks like diamonds. They actually are diamonds. And so you think, what is this actually about? So what he did is during COVID, he wanted to create a work about climate change and about the ice melting. And he got 1,000 people from around the world to blow into balloons and have their carbon dioxide in balloons. I know this sounds crazy. It sounds like sorcery, but it's really interesting. And then he went to some really clever scientists who turned the carbon dioxide into diamonds. You know, lab-grown diamonds, because they're made from carbon dioxide or whatever. And then he took these diamonds that were made from 1,000 people's carbon dioxide, and he sort of did a gesture to give it back to the earth, because diamonds come from the earth, and we have been neglecting the planet, and the ice is melting. And so this was his kind of way, in a sort of a gesture, to apologize to the earth and to also at the same time show the world how much the ice in these places is melting. So it's kind of like I'm sorry to the earth, but at the same time really showing these landscapes that are disappearing in front of our eyes.
Did he leave the diamonds there?
Yeah, you just literally see him drop these diamonds
Is that
into sinkholes. Farah,
sinkholes.
that's what he just said.
Is that-
He's giving them back.
Is it littering?
No, it's diamonds. Can you litter
Okay.
diamonds?
No, because he made them from us or from the earth.
But diamonds
Full
are like
carbon.
famously quite robust.
Yeah, they are.
So they're going to be milling around for a little while. Listen,
gonna
go to
say-
Greenland, find some diamonds. That's
Yeah,
what I'm hearing.
exactly.
I mean, while I was
I mean, they're very little diamonds.
okay.
Don't think it was just one big diamond.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a big J-Lo ring.
It wasn't a big J-Lo ring. No.
Just we at a COP, there was a lot about the melting glaciers and
Yeah.
He
Ice caps.
also had another video. I won't get too much into it, but he had to create his own specialized cameras and drones to film the Arctic landscapes, and it looks like a crazy fantasy landscape. And these cameras zoom in and they show you the ice cracking and the water melting. And did you know that in the Antarctic, to keep the ice from freezing, they put all these blankets on the ice?
oh my god, this is really scaring
It's
me.
all-
It's
well,
really,
it's
but it was
literally
great
getting
taking the
hooked.
kids to it because
Oh, great.
They learned something.
They learned something.
Question that you might not know the answer for, or two, so don't mean to put you on the spot. But
No.
how long's that on for?
It is on for until January the 3rd or 4th.
Okay, so people have time over the
people
winter
have
break.
time. Yes, they do have time.
Something is kind of related that we wrote about this week. The world's scariest bouquet. Did you see this?
Yes, I did see this. I saw the video as well. It's great.
Bouquet of flowers?
Of flowers. It's flowers that are growing in Antarctica.
Yeah.
And the fact that flowers are growing there is terrifying. That shouldn't be happening. And so it was I believe a Canadian company that had this bouquet of flowers going around COP, and just the fact that they exist is
Terrifying.
There's two types of flowers, and yeah,
And are they flowers that we can, are they special?
Oh, they're really beautiful.
they're really pretty. They're little yellow blooms.
and they shouldn't exist.
But they shouldn't exist. They're not like, you aren't going to like pop into Spinneys in a flower department,
Yeah.
grab
From
them and take them home.
Antarctica.
But they exist and they shouldn't exist.
It's really scary.
It is.
Oh, it's really made me sad. I was having so much fun, guys.
Sorry,
Oh,
guys.
sorry.
But I think
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's fun to think about how we can
Eco anxiety. Let's all leave with it today.
how we can also communicate this stuff to kids in a way that makes them understand how important it is.
Yeah,
Which brings me
definitely.
to my next
Oh,
gallery
seeming
exhibition.
beautiful.
Yes,
Lovely.
beautiful segue.
Yes.
It's called From Ink to Action, and this is an exhibition also happening in Al Avenue in Warehouse 48 in Al Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a collaboration between the British Council and what are they called? Sorry, the Lakes International Comics Festival, which is a big comics festival in the US. And they have collaborated together to find 12 Arab visual artists or comic book artists to come together. And each of them have created a short comic that talks about a specific climate issue in their region. So you have artists from Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Lebanon, Egypt, and they can create like a fantasy comic or a very serious comic or one that's kind of more infographics. And it's about discussing a particular or imagining a particular issue around climate change. So you have one comic which is about like the world in the future, which is half water and how people kind of are living or surviving through that. One artist I spoke to was called Mehdi Enasi. He's from Morocco. And he did a small comic of a conversation he had with his grandfather from Morocco about watermelons. So he was telling me about how watermelons are very seasonal in Morocco, and all fruits and vegetables are seasonal. And he remembers growing up that whenever he'd see like truckloads of watermelons or truckloads of apples, he'd know, oh, it's the beginning of spring or the beginning of winter because of these fruits. But because watermelon is a very fruitful fruit, it's one that makes a lot of money. This particular area in Morocco has found a way to use water reserves to water certain areas to plant more watermelons throughout the year. And so now you see watermelons everywhere. And what it's done is that it's using up water that should be used for other things. And overutilizing the land. And he's like wondering what effect this will have to the ecosystem in Morocco and to this particular area. So it's even these sort of like subtle stories that, you know, from his grandfather's time to his time, where in his grandfather's time, watermelon was just a specific time of year. But now it's all year round. Just even these kind of visual markers of knowing when fruit is supposed to be
Listen
around.
to Mother Nature.
Exactly.
Because apparently as well, like if you do eat fruit, which is seasonal, and vegetables that are seasonal, it's better for your immune system. It's better for you that you're in the cycle of Mother Nature.
Yeah, exactly.
And more shallow, but they do taste better when they're meant to be grown.
Yeah. But what I love about this particular exhibition is that it's all of these very fun comics that, you know, very visually appealing, very funny, very short, and it's a great engaging way. And it's not all, I mean, it is sort of doom and gloom, but when you're reading it as a child, it's just making you think about things as opposed to making you think about how sad and depressing.
My daughter absolutely adores.
How old is she?
Like she is 8.
Oh,
Had
right.
8 last week, and she absolutely adores graphic novels, and she's been reading a lot of them. And I think it's such a good way to get children into reading from early because they can finish a book in a day, and they
feel a sense of
themselves.
achievement as well when they read a book that's a graphic novel.
A graphic novel,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of like writers that have been. I was doing some research. Sorry, off topic. Anthony Bourdain did some graphic novels.
Did he?
Yeah,
I would like to read.
yeah, I would really like to read them.
How do we source them?
About
Online.
food?
They're like different subjects.
Oh, okay.
But it teamed up. But I just really like his writing, obviously. Everyone does. He keeps popping up in conversations recently. So I was like, oh, I'll do some research into his writing. And yeah, lo and behold, graphic novel by Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all we have time for today from today's Culture Bites. Thank you so much for listening. And we promise to get you lots more interesting stories next week.
And if you like this episode, please follow and subscribe on your favourite podcasting app. Bye.
Bye.